We're born for connection. If we didn't know it, things remind us. And why do we want to reach out and touch each other and say hello and meet each other in the eyes? It's because we know there's something greater at work. And what's greater at work, and it's a main tenet of what we teach, is that there is one power in the whole universe, just one. And that power is good. And that power is love. And we call it God. But not everybody does, so we don't have to call it God. We can call it many other things. I know Ernest Holmes wrote a book that he passed out to so many people, and he wanted it to be really accepted by so many. He called it This Thing Called Life. And it was on the first page, he just said, and life is God. And for the rest of the book, he talks about life. And we can say life because our life is made of that stuff of God. God that is good, but we don't have to be good all the time. Because we've been given that free will. So we can make our choices. But what I know, we don't have to be good. And lots of us aren't good. And I think life is pretty messy right now. Okay? I just think it's messy because I get confused. I don't really know what's right and what's wrong, what's good and right. It's all jumbled up. And it feels so divided and so intolerant. And I don't get it because we're born in this love, but we're given that free will. And you know, I go back constantly to what Joseph Campbell, who studied cultures around the world, all cultures. And he said, life is perfect. It's a mess. And it's always been a mess. And we can't change it. All we can do is straighten out our own lives. And in times when you feel, oh my gosh, things are so crazy, I can't make sense, we know we can always work on ourselves. Because the thing I know, when we say that God is the living presence of love, it means to me, well, first of all, not all religions teach that. You know, some religions and some churches teach that God is unapproachable, angry, punishing. Well, I know that God isn't needy. We are. God isn't judgy. We are. We have to fix ourselves from that. I don't even think in any way that God looks down on this crazy world and says, oh boy, I wish I hadn't created these people. I just don't think that. So I think maybe God thinks they're here to be learners. They could learn a little faster. But other than that, it's always this loving environment for us. We're here to really awaken. We are, as Ernest Holmes says, both students and teachers. And we are here to practice what we need to learn and to unlearn the things that no longer serve us. And once we've done that, we can teach. We don't have to be perfect, trust me, but we can teach and awaken that goodness, that light, that knowing in each other. That's what we're here to do. That's the goodness. We're here to awaken it. Now, some of the things I think we may want to unlearn is, I think we may have to unlearn that God thinks that we're not on track. God gives us everything we need, and we learn at our own pace and our own rate. You know, Mother Teresa says, if we have no peace, it's because we've forgotten we belong to each other. So I think that's why it was so important to start with that song today. Just reaching out one time brings us closer to a more peaceful, wonderful, loving world. We can do that if we just take the time and the energy to make something work. Make something work. God is love. Ernest Holmes says, and you'll kind of recognize this, see where you recognize it. Maybe you won't, maybe you won't. I do. Let me put it that way. I recognize this. One of our problems is we get too self-conscious and too sensitive, and we get our feelings hurt too easily. We magnify everything and sometimes call something criticism when it's actually a comment. Sorry, Kirk.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know you meant it as a comment. I'm so sorry. Anyway, but you know what heals? It's love that heals. It's love that heals the stuff if we can get back together and remember what really works. Meister Eckhart, who's one of my favorite theologians, mystics, he's just amazing. He was a priest, and he was a expanded mystical priest. He thought beyond the confines of the normal religion, and he felt that humans could think in divine mind. Well, isn't that what Jesus said when he said, "The Father is in me and I am in the Father"? That we have the divine mind within us. We're not the whole divine mind, but we've got the power, some of the power of that within us. So we can think as God thinks. We can think in a higher, greater way. And actually, spirituality, which is what I think all of us want to be more spiritual people, is when we have the consistent commitment to try to see God, good, love in everything. Where we can look at someone, as the song said, someone that's hurting, and we can want to step in their shoes, in their space, and treat them the way that we'd like to be treated. Isn't that the golden rule? Isn't that one of the main tenets of so many teachings? To do unto others as we would like done unto ourselves. What if we started thinking that way and acting that way and being that way? Not only would we change, but when we change the way we think, the things around us start changing. We could make a huge difference if we just simply remember the golden... Whoa. I guess that's a reminder. We need to do that. Remember the golden rule and start living by it. Spirituality is that thing that makes us continually want to connect with something greater. My good friend Rumi, the 14th century Sufi mystic, said, "There is a voice that uses no words. Listen." There's a voice that uses no words. Listen. Because the truth about this living presence as love, as God, as goodness, as life, is it doesn't fit into words. It has to be felt, as Marianne said so beautifully. It has to be felt. We have to feel that presence. And that's why we need to spend time every day in meditation or communion or divine spiritual reading, or walking in nature. Somewhere we step into that thing that's bigger than ourselves, that we can melt into it and feel that presence. It has to be felt. We have to feel it. We can feel it by asking ourselves some questions, some bigger questions, and love the question, not really need to have the definite answer right then, but just be in that question and feel the question. How can I embody more spirit today? How can I share light or love or goodness in a better, bigger way? What can I do to do that today? And if we ask ourselves those questions, we can melt into that beautiful, warm ocean of love that Marianne talked about. That ocean that just expands us. Because in order to feel that living, loving present, we can't be rigid. We can't be tight. We have to make space within ourselves and in our life. We can't be too busy all the time. We have to make the space for that presence to be felt in our hearts. It's always there. It's never not there. Richard Rohr, another wonderful ecumenical priest, Franciscan priest, says, "Your image of God creates you." I want you to think about that for a minute, that question, your image of God. Now, everybody doesn't resonate completely with the word God, as I've said, and it's understandable. I didn't when I first started into this teaching and even into practitioner studies. I couldn't really grasp it because you can't put God into words. And if you're trying to put that essence and energy into words, it'll be too confusing. So use spirit, use something else, creativity, whatever it is for you. But your image of God creates you. What you perceive and understand about the world around you, let's just say life, what you perceive about life around you is really how you're going to choose your beliefs, your behaviors, your worldview, how you're going to see things. And if you see life, God, as a punishing, judgmental, unapproachable essence that's always looking down, criticizing, you become fearful, rigid, and very self-critical. I mean, there's no other way. But if you see this thing we call life, we call love, we call God, we call goodness, we call love as compassionate and generous and always giving, just as the sun continually gives, not just to the flowers who bring beauty and light to the world, but to the weeds. The sun shines on everything. And if we think the same thing about God's love, the livingness, the aliveness of God's love, that's the way it works. We become just what we say, compassionate, loving, caring, trusting, forgiving. Did you forgive me, Kirk? Thank you. So we know that, and we feel it, and that's who we become. So that's an interesting little thought to carry with you. I want you to think right now of yourself as a stained glass window. They're so beautiful. All of them, even the simplest stained glass windows, are beautiful. And that's what we are. They're all different. They're all unique. But when the light shines through them, they radiate out beauty, awe, wonder, love. And when the light's turned down or off, they're kind of dark, not lit, not connecting. All they need to do is plug in. Plug in, and that's for us. When Eckhart said, we can live in the divine mind, we just need to plug into it. I say his quote almost, well, at least every other Sunday. We need to hitch our earthly wagon to a star. And that way, we can make sense of this world. And when we can't, we can jump into something bigger. We can heal, we can love, we can be compassionate, and we can melt into that river we call life, we call love, and flow with it much, much, much more easily and quickly. Hafez said, who was the 14th century Sufi mystic, I wish I could show you. I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness, which I think hits most of us at some times, maybe during the day, during the week, during the month, whatever. I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. There's light in us all right now that wants to be expressed, but we must, to make that living love as a living presence alive within us, we have to have an active participatory relationship with God as a co-pilot. You know, it reminded me, Eckhart said, this is another great thing. Eckhart said, no on this unapproachable God. Here's what I know God says. Approach, come closer. Let me take you by the hand. Let me take you, that's the energy that's here for us. And I think of the words of Hafez when he said, God only knows 4 words. Come dance with me. And I thought of the book that Father Gregory Boyle wrote about tattoos on the heart when he was talking about the homeboy industry and when he brought the opposing gangs together to teach them about love and getting together, that they could work together when they found understanding. And he taught them about their relationship with something greater than they are, and it was called love. But one day he asked Scrappy, one of the homeboys, at the end of the day, well, how did your day go? And Scrappy said, today, I let God take my hand. It had been a tough day, but he knew what to do about it. He knew how to handle it, to reach up and out to something greater, something bigger, And that's for all of us to do. So I want us right now, we're going to say something together. And this is something that's written in several of Ernest Holmes' books, and I'm sure most of you have said it and know it. I'll say it first. There is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Let's do it together. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. And I'm going to revise it for the last time we say it. There's only one love. That's God's love. That love is perfect. Put your hands right here. Say, that love is my love right here and right now. I love you all immensely, and I'm so glad we're on this journey together. God bless you. Have a light, bright, beautiful, and loving day. And so it is.